What if I told you there was a game that lets you take your favorite rapper from the 90s and the early 2000s into a massive brawl? Stages that are vibrant, crowds that get raw. I mean so raw they bring skillets to scramble your brains. Techniques so fluent it's likely to cause massive contusion.
Multiple contusion with severe internal injuries with a major conclusion. That's a lot of pain.
A game so good, to even say its name is to make every gamer smile, grab their third leg and say, "Yo, that's my game, son." Almost like an unspoken ritual, with quotable dialogue like, "You're a punk, your father's a punk, and your mother's a bitch." And wait for it, I'm about to butcher this. "Hey, come want to war with the bad man?" End scene. Thank you. Combat that requires timing, spacing, and baiting your opponent into unsafe attacks, where defense is rewarded just as much as offense. Tekken 8 should take notes. I know enough with the glazing of this game, but I'm sorry, there are not many games where Busta Rhymes body slams on my Epps on the Escalade, which I just won, beating up Mobb Deep in West Side Connection in the underground fighting tournament. The year is 2004. Electronic Arts is probably at the height of its evil empire reign. Fringe just aired its final episode. Massachusetts became the first state to legalize gay marriage, and Janet Jackson's titties wakes up every man's penis and creates YouTube. Welcome to Def Jam Fight for New York, people. If we're gonna talk about Def Jam, then we gotta go back. Aki Corporation was a name associated with fantastic WWF, WcW wrestling games for the Nintendo 64 in the late 90s. Aki Corporations started development on a new WcW game, but it never materialized until someone at Electronic Arts decided, let's just use rappers instead of wrestlers. This was a brilliant idea, probably inspired by Wu-Tang Shaolin game, which came out in the late 90s. Apparently, METHOD man was very vocal and helped smooth over fears execs may have had over crossing over wrestling with hip-hop. Def Jam Vendetta was released in 2003, April 1st actually, selling very well, and it was also reviewed very high, except for in Eurogamer. I guess they needed more British rappers.
Hop out the 4-door with the 440 was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chilling in the corridor. Your dad is 44, and he's still calling man for a draw. The thing goes skrrrr, pop, pop, tap, tap, tap. Skitty, kid, pop, pop, and the poop, poop, boom.
Nevertheless, the success of Def Jam Vendetta led us to Def Jam Fight for New York. Def Jam Fight for New York is an improvement in almost every way over Def Jam Vendetta. Bigger roster? Check. Bigger stakes? Check. Better and more venues? Check. Smoother and funner fighting mechanics? Check. Going back in time to the early 2000s, I would admit I didn't have much awareness of Def Jam Fight for New York. Somehow I missed all the advertisements. While I was aware of Def Jam Vendetta, I even still have the GMR magazine with the full layout of the game, story, character descriptions, and everything. Anyway, I never played Vendetta until after I experienced Fight for New York. I was completely overwhelmed by the details and amount of great content showcased by Fight for New York. Let's first talk about the gameplay, which was changed from Vendetta to streamlined combat and almost allowed more unique, over-the-top action, leading to a mixture of fighting styles that clash, making for different techniques or strategies. Crowd and venues play a big factor, both along with weapons that can cause a KO. Venues are more prominent since the game takes place in New York, with the loser moving to Jersey. Sorry, Redman.
I'ma take your tongue out and lick my ass with it.
The roster has so many Def Jam Universal music artists that this was a special time when hip-hop was at its zenith, from New York to ATL to Cali to Jamaica. I mean, really, Island Def Jam is in this game. This is reflected in a musical soundtrack that has tracks from almost every region of the United States. I love this soundtrack. Quick, name your top 3 in the comment section. For me, it's number 3, Enough Respect by Big Daddy Kane. 2, Take a Look at My Life by Fat Joe. And number 1, well, you know, it's Freeway featuring Petey Crack and Flipside. Special mention to LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out and Pastor Troy and Mrs. Jade, Are We Cutting? I even like the Chang bumper where it's like an instrumental. I think it's called Kodo. I'm really interested in reading your list in the comment section, so please, let's put it in the comment section. I really do want to hear it. Def Jam Fight for New York doesn't have many game modes, but a lot of variations. If you played Aki's Nintendo 64 wrestling games, then you know what I mean. 1-on-1, 2-on-2 tag teams, 4-way battle royals, different win stipulations like Subway match or Inferno match. Obviously there's a versus mode, which is why this game has a very solid competitive offline scene. Shout out to C.E.O. tournaments for hosting Fight for New York tournaments every year. The offline modes are good, but the story is what Def Jam elevates from a great game to an actual classic gem. No spoiler of course, but Fight for New York picks up where Vendetta ends. Long story short, main villain in Vendetta is now our boss after being humbled, which is a great way to keep the continuity and effective storytelling. I remember when they did the same thing in the Undisputed movies. As the protagonist, you create a new character, unlike Vendetta, which gave you a choice from predetermined characters. Besides the physical look, you get to choose fighting styles, clothes, attributes such as toughness, speed. Honestly, the funnest part will, of course, be unlocking different finishers. As a member of D-Mob's crew, you will begin running fades in different locations all throughout New York City until you run up against Crow, played perfectly by Snoop Dogg. The story is where I personally spent most of my time building up multiple characters. Fight for New York becomes a time-consuming as you master different styles, making unique enough fighting styles. If I must critique something sometimes, adding 2 or 3 fighting styles can ruin your character move list, changing moves you really enjoyed. But that's a small critique. Def Jam Fight for New York will not disappoint if you're interested in playing. Most of my critiques would be minor nitpicks like how the message system is clunky, kind of pointless since you can't interact or respond, or how story moments progress with certain fights, but you won't know because it's like no indicator on your first time playing. Controls can be an adjustment, not hard to learn, but it will take some time to get efficient in reversals and blockings. But you know what? Let's take them to the bridge. For graphics, we have 7 out of 10. For sound, 9 out of 10. For music, 10 out of 10. For gameplay, 10 out of 10. And for story, 9 out of 10. Which brings us to a final score of 45. Which means
Rabbit out the hat, pulling afro tricks. Afro-American, afro dick.
Time. I've got a lot of dreams, but I'm not really chasing mine. I soak it all up like a sitting fly.
I beg yo, girl, just give me the light and pass the joke. What's another buckle of more?
In the morning or late.
Don't wake me up now.
Like a power like a
Ribbon, original radio ribbon, they shit a lieutenant, get 10 of your 10 and a 10 and 10 of your 10 and attempting to back up. They tripping off.
Took a shower with my clothes on. How stupid.
for those that are new, I want to say welcome, and I'm always in the comment section, so say what's up. Let me know what you disliked or liked about this video. A reminder, scores mean nothing, just visuals for the casuals. Anyway, this game is so much better than it should be for its concept. Rappers as underground fighters, also produced by Electronic Arts, utter amazing. No lie, I'm not being facetious. This concept is not supposed to be this good and have gameplay that rivals modern arena fighters. Graphics are detailed and stand out, with dark atmosphere perfectly capturing New York. The gameplay is smooth and feels amazing. Maybe a little stiff when it comes to movement. I got used to it very fast. Baiting your opponent becomes a major strategy. I love the fighting styles. I do wish you could tailor the moves and use them outside of the specials, but that might hurt the replay value. So I understand why they don't let you, but then again, it's a nitpick. Unlocking music, artists, moves, also known as blazons, plus a post story adds fights, which means there's a lot to discover. The story is meek when it comes to motivation, plot. Honestly, you will be having much fun to even care about that. Why your character save D-Mob? How does venues change ownership through combat? Does your girlfriend really die? But most of all, what's wrong with Jersey?
The loser? Hell, I don't know. Loser goes to Jersey.
The legacy of this game, plus the fact this game will never be allowed to stream, most likely due to music rights and artist likeness being a headache to resolve, has pushed this game to crazy prices. Fights for Fighting for New York can range from $60 to $500. I own the PS2 version. I bought this back in the early 2000s. It's a game in which I will never get rid of. If you're looking to get your hands on Def Jam Fight for New York, good luck. The prices are too high. Try looking for the PSP version, which is called Def Jam Fight for New York Takeover. It's not as robust, but serves as a prequel to the story and very streamlined. But the combat has slightly been upgraded, like being able to mount your opponent and beat them to KO. Honestly, you will probably run into the same problem of sellers overpricing this game. But I did see one on Craigslist for like $80, so happy hunting. This game today cannot be made as a Def Jam game. The roster wouldn't work in modern times. Can you imagine rappers of today that are signed to Def Jam? Not your random roster that has Drake battling Travis Scott or Chance the Rapper versus Jack Harlow. Def Jam means Def Jam or Universal, but you know what I mean. Def Jam just don't have the masculine bravado that's needed to make it believable. I'm sorry, nobody wants to be Justin Bieber. I do have answers though. Let me explain. There is still a way to do Def Jam Fight for New York, but maybe drop the Def Jam and we get Smack URL, King of the Dot, Queen of the Ring, or any of the other rap leagues. Literally let them fight. Murder Moot, T-Rex, Charlie Clips, Loaded Lux battling. Give it a storyline, and I think we got a hit. Can you imagine a soundtrack that can be with battle rap songs and then in Proving Grounds? You can always have new DLC, new talent. Just gave you a free idea. Electronic Arts, go make some money. I would love to hear from you in the comment section though. What do you think of my idea to continue the legacy of Def Jam Vendetta, Fight for New York, and Icons? I really love this series, and to me, I think it's a crime that Def Jam Icons is the last thing people remember. Until next time, people, stay safe, stay warm, happy holidays. Take care, my dear friends.